I gotta get my questions. This is my it's for my sports media relations class, so I'm supposed to talk to you about your job, things of that nature. It's like an interview.
Oh no shit. Are you recording this?
Yeah, I haven't started the. I mean, I'll edit it. So.
Keith, I'm gonna need you to come prepared.
All right, here we go. All right, so let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You putting your head in the bun.
I mean, I'm not gonna look good for this. Like, who's seeing this? You have a really big head.
My professor.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So good evening. I mean, let's check that. Good afternoon. I'm here with.
Hello.
I'm here with Tory Teyki, and she is the director of football operations here at Temple Football. So, Tory, if you could, can you tell us about your journey here to Temple and where you're from?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in a town called Rosenberg, which is outside of Houston, Texas. So from my birth till about 30 years old, I lived in Texas. So went to Texas A&M University, got my undergraduate degree in business because I was like, hey, you can do whatever you want to do with a business degree. Realized that I wanted to work in sports. So I got my master's in sports management. While I was doing that, I volunteered with the Convention and Visitors Bureau in College Station. I worked at the football offices at A&M and the kinesiology office. Once I graduated from there, the connections that I had made through a lot of my interning and volunteering led me to the University of Houston. So I interned with them for 6 months in order to complete my graduate degree. Once that was done, they hired me full time. So I worked in marketing for 4 years at University of Houston. And then I transitioned over to football to do what I'm doing now. So in 2013, that was my first season as football operations. Did that for 2 years with Coach Levine. He got let go and that staff got let go. And then a new coach came in, I got retained, was there for 2 more years, then went to the University of Texas for 3 seasons, left Texas to go to University of Kansas, was there for 2 seasons, and then left there in 2022 to come here to Temple.
So can you like explain maybe like what your job description entails and like what are your daily duties?
How much time do you have?
A lot
Just
of time.
was a joke, I know. But what I'm saying is it changes from day to day. So how I boil it down in a nutshell is my job is to make sure the program runs off the field. So the day-to-day operations of the program, the scheduling, the communication, the calendars, all that stuff, just making sure you guys as student athletes know where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, working to get everybody on the same page. So taking what academics needs, what the strength coaches need, what Coach Drayton needs, and just making sure it's all in one place that everybody can find it. And then I'm in charge, like right now, really heavy in the travel. So I'm responsible for all the team travel for our home and away games. So who sleeps in what room, what we're eating, where you sit on the plane, all that stuff. Are the buses there? Do we have police escort? Do we have smoothies when we land? You know, all the little stuff, your per diem that goes into it. So trying to make the program operate where coaches can focus on coaching and recruiting.
What would you say is like the easiest part of your job and the hardest part?
I think the hardest part, I'll start there because it's finding time and ways to prioritize when things keep happening, right? Like I have a great plan for today. I haven't gotten to any of our travel just because different stuff keeps coming up that becomes more of a priority. So I think still maintaining the ability that this is a customer service program. Is that Jordan McGee?
Yeah.
He should probably take his hood off inside. Okay. Sorry. But it's, I think balancing all of that. I think the easy, I don't know if I would say easiest, the most fun is being around student athletes. I say that in the sense of y'all stress me out at times.
Sometimes.
But that's why I do what I do. I think y'all need the support and the guidance to help you continue to grow as human beings. And I think I can offer that in different ways. Like, I'm not coaching you, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into it on that piece of it.
So working like working as a director and like, relations and stuff like that, what are some things that we should know in terms of like maybe people we should know or terms we should know or like things of that nature?
Oh, I can tell you a term that you should know for travel. It's called a BEO. Have you heard of this?
No.
A banquet event order. So like, we're traveling to Maryland this week, right, to play Navy. So I work with the hotel, tell them, hey, this is how the room needs to be set up. This is the food that we want, what time. They give it back to me in this little form. And then I have to go through and make sure everything's correct. So I do that every week for home and away games. And it gets repetitive. So that's a term. I think to be successful in this job and to know you got to work for somebody you believe in. I think that's a huge blessing. A lot of times you're not that lucky, in the sense of I've had jobs where I was there to do a job and maybe my opinion wasn't valued or I wasn't valued as a human. That's not the case here. And part of the reason I love working with Coach Drayton. But it's also, you got to be organized and you got to have attention to detail and you got to be able to focus. And I say that a lot of my job is trying to get 110 football players, y'all are 18 to 22 years old, to comprehend something.
Sometimes older.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I have to give the message to whether that's through teamwork, whether that's through, hey, fill out this form, whether that's speaking post practice, trying to find ways, and then giving y'all the tools to be successful, as well as the coaches. Like, they have to know the schedule. They have to know how much time we have for practice. They have to know, I got to make sure food's where it is. So honing my skills in the sense of communicating in a way that it's received.
Can you talk a little bit about teamwork and how that helps with like daily managing, like what it is?
Yep. So Teamworks is a software that is on your phone. So it's an application, or you can use it on your computer, but it is a way, there's multiple ways to use it. I'm not using it to its full function right now because we should be using it for travel, but scheduling, you can look on that and see what your schedule is that day, and it's specific to each student athlete. So when a student athlete opens up the calendar function on this app, it's what class they have, when they have tutoring, when their practice is, when they eat, what their expectations are, what we're wearing. It also has a messaging function. So that's kind of where you go for all your information in regards to Temple, and Temple being a student athlete. So everything is the one-stop shop of, hey, what do I need to do? Do I need to message somebody? I can go find our trainers' contact information and message them. There's a group text with the entire team. There's our calendar. All that jazz is in there. So it definitely is a way for us to communicate and keep everyone organized in that piece of it, because prior to that, it was just relying on GroupMe, which was not effective.
So in class, one of our biggest discussions is about the use of social media. So
Yeah.
the use of social media for athletes and coaches. How do we regulate, or if we do or don't, how do we? And what are your thoughts and rules on social media?
So we are not as intense, I think, as a lot of other schools. So when we get commitments or people coming here, we do a cleanse, a scrub of social media. So if there's anything that pops on there that we don't like or we don't see that doesn't align with our core values or the university values, that's a conversation that has to be had, and maybe could be an opportunity for you to unfortunately lose your scholarship, right? And those pieces of it. So there's a program that we use to do that. But then other than that, I think social media has changed how we operate on so many things. I think you've got to be smart in what you're doing, because how quick is it for someone to pull a camera out and put you on social and do that stuff? But I also think it's a way to build your brand, especially in the era of name, image, and likeness, where you can profit off of who you are and being a, student athlete and what you can offer. I think social media in that way is crucial, but you got to be using it the right way. If you're sitting on there quoting lyrics and it's talking about stuff that you don't need to be talking about, that has consequences, good and bad.
So just, following up about the media. So obviously, can you talk a little bit more about like media training and how you get guys ready to engage with the media and what they can and can't say, and things like HIPAA and all that other stuff?
Yeah. So we in our program is obviously up to the head coach and how we want to, and it changes from school to school. But our philosophy is you've got to earn your right to talk to media. We're just not allowing anybody to get in front of the media because we don't know what's going to be said. And we want to give you some training and some tools before that. So Rich Berg is our sports information director, and he has held trainings with our leadership council, with a couple of captains, our single digits, different people that we know we are going to consistently put in front of the media on how to answer questions, put them in situations where it might be uncomfortable. How do you answer that when you're asked provoking questions, right? What do you do with that? What does that look like? So giving you the tools to do that and get out of those situations. I think because a lot of times people try to get a story, right? They try to get something that people are going to read. So they want to get you talking trash about an opponent, or they want to, they call that billboard information or bulletin board information, where they take it and be like, hey, Temple isn't ish. But then we get a hold of that, and that's motivation for us. So doing those pieces of it, injuries, any of that stuff, people's availability, we stay away from. So that's something that only the head coach speaks on, right? So you don't talk about who got hurt or who's practicing and different things. And that can be tricky at times if people point blank ask you. And I think there's stuff, I don't know, someone for the Patriots was asked some injury questions, a player, and I don't know if you saw that, but he kept going back to, that's a Coach Belichick question. That asked Coach Belichick, right? Because that's his opportunity to disclose that, one, for privacy reasons, but two, a competitive advantage for the opponent. Like if they know our starting right guard is out, they're going to game plan differently and maybe try and attack that in a certain way. So you definitely stay away from injuries and those pieces of it. Those are the only people that would have access to like HIPAA and that, like medical professionals, and they don't talk to the media.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Last question. Okay, when it comes to social media and content, what are ways that you guys are looking to increase, whether it's engagement or popularity or things of that nature?
I think that's a great question. So it's definitely working with, can you give me like 5 minutes? Hang tight. Sorry. We want, our brand is what it is, and not just putting Temple brand out there, but like pushing Temple football in those pieces of it. So there's a lot of staff members that are dedicated to just that. Like I have a meeting every Monday with our creative team, which is video, the photographers, the people that are putting that stuff out. Like, what are we going to do to tell our story? Like, who is Temple football? And that goes beyond wins and losses. That goes beyond what we're trying to do and build young men on and off the field, using the game of football to do that. That's the community service. That's the also production on the field. Like there's so many different things that hits. So I think that's a crucial component. It's huge in recruiting piece, like in the sense of we're trying to recruit kids that maybe aren't local or from here. How can they figure out what they're getting into? Well, when they watch all these clips of Coach Drayton and different pieces of that, that's what it looks like. And we get to take our story and put it out into the world. And then honestly, constantly, like, who are our competitors, right? Who are we competing against in football? But then also, what is our goal? What are we trying to do? And that's tell our story and get our piece out there and just get the interaction. So what does that look like? Is it not always football? That's why we do the different pieces where y'all get to show y'all's personality. Like we ask the questions post-practice, we follow y'all around and do different things and highlight the stuff that y'all are doing that goes beyond X's and O's.
I guess last question.
You already said last question.
Huh?
You already said last question.
I did? Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess
like, why is it taking you so long to ask this question?
I would just like to say thank you for joining me today for this interview. It's very insightful. Learned a lot about what goes on in your daily life.
Thanks, Beast. I'm gonna quiz you on this later.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what was the term you said?
BEO, banquet event order.
Banquet event order.
So like when we travel, you'll see me go around like prior to meals, and like I have a piece of paper and I'm checking off to make sure everything that I have, like it goes down to like, is there water on the table? Is there butter? Are there forks? Is there salt and pepper? Is the chicken out? That type of stuff. But it's like, essentially it's the playbook for the hotel.
Well, thank you. That was
You're welcome.
Very insightful. Um,
Okay.
all right.
Can I go now?
Yes, you can.
Bye.
All right, see you later.